our dear viewers, and welcome to our special coverage for the current World Governments Summit taking place in Dubai, the United Arab Emirates. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli delivered the keynote speech at the 2024 World Government Summit in Dubai today. As part of his participation in the summit, the Prime Minister reviewed the government's efforts to lead the rise up in different economic and development sectors and boosting the efficiency of the infrastructure. He said the government is working intensely to improve the business environment in Egypt. The Prime Minister's participation in the summit, which runs into 14th of February, comes upon an invitation from UAE's Vice President and Prime Minister Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum. On the sidelines of the World Government Summit in Dubai, Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli met with the International Monetary Fund IMF Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva. He expressed his appreciation to the ongoing cooperation between the government and the IMF. He said that the government is continuing its efforts of integral economic reform and supporting the private sector while it continues social protection programs. Madbouli also underscored that Egyptian efforts are still continuing on all levels to reach a ceasefire in the Gaza Strip and to allow humanitarian efforts to the Palestinian people in Gaza. Madbouli met World Bank President Ajayi Banga, who said that he is looking forward to more cooperation with Egypt in light of its economic reforms, in addition to its efforts to carry out the government offering program. The Prime Minister held a meeting also with Emirati Minister of Industry and Advanced Technology Sultan Al Jaber and asserted the importance of enhancing bilateral relations in various fields. And indeed, as the Prime Minister is participating in the activities of the World Government Summit meetings in the United Arab Emirates, we are having the following report to shed more light on the issue.
Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli began a visit to the United Arab Emirates to participate in the 2024 World Government Summit in Dubai. The Prime Minister's participation comes upon an invitation from the UAE's Vice President and Prime Minister Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum. During the summit, which will be held between February 12th and 14th, Madbouli will meet with leaders of global development agencies and join discussion panels. He will deliver the keynote speech before the summit to review the government's efforts to lead a rise up in different economic and development sectors. The International Monetary Fund said on Sunday Middle East economies were lagging below growth projections due to the Israeli aggression on Gaza, even as the global economic outlook remained resilient, while warning of a potential wider impact on regional economies of continued conflict in Gaza. IMF Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva told the Arab Fiscal Forum in Dubai that the global economy had been surprisingly resilient. In a regional economic report last month, the IMF revised its GDP growth forecast for the Middle East and North Africa down to 2.9% this year, lagging below October projections due in part to the Israeli genocide war in Gaza. The IMF last month edged its forecast for global economic growth higher, upgrading the outlook for both the United States and China and citing faster than expected easing of inflation. Georgieva said economies in the Middle East saw the conflict weighing on tourism revenues, while Red Sea attacks weighed on freight costs globally. The global economic official told the forum on the sidelines of the World Government Summit that those factors compounded the challenges of economies that were still recovering from previous shocks.
And to shed more light on the participation of Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli in the activities of the government summit in the United Arab Emirates and that in its 11th edition, we are very much delighted to be joined over the phone by Dr. Abdellatif Wahba, our journalist. Good afternoon to you, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, how do you see the importance of Egypt participation in the edition of the World Government Summit taking place in Dubai, the United Arab Emirates? And the participation of Egypt indeed is representing a great importance for Egypt and indeed for the Egyptian economy. What's your take on that, sir?
Let us say first that when Dr. Mustafa Madbouli traveled to attend the summit, accompanied by many ministers of the economic group in cabinet. This is, of course, to exchange their views and opinion with the other partners, especially in the Middle East and Gulf states. And also the officials from other parties in the world. As you know, that this summit comes in a time in a critical time, especially after the Israeli aggressions in Gaza, the Houthis attacks in the Red Sea, and also, as you know, that this is, of course, besides the world economic crisis that penetrated all over the world, especially after the Russian-Ukrainian war.
Yes.
What I mean is all the governments, all the states, all the countries all over the world suffered from the current political situations, not only in the Middle East, but all over the world. And Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli, I think he met with many officials in Serbia, in United Arab Emirates, from Serbia, from United Arab Emirates. This comes as Egypt is taking the way for a new wave of economic forms and so on. This is, as you know, that Egypt approved many economic steps, especially the state ownership documents that paved the way for the private sectors to participate in the world, in Egypt's economic situations, and to increase their role from 30% to 60% during the role and the contributions, of course, in the Egyptian economy from 30% to 60% during the coming years and so on. This is a message not only for the Egyptian investors, not only for the foreign investors already working in Egypt, but for the other investors all over the world who want to come to invest or to intending to invest or to increase their investment in Egypt.
Indeed. Sir, also during his keynote speech before the summit, the Prime Minister talked about the importance of attracting foreign investments and local investments, and the role played by the Egyptian government in order to reach that by continuing its economic reform program in spite of all the challenges that the world is facing and Egypt is facing also, sir. So how do you see the points here highlighted by the Prime Minister during his talk concerning the direct investments by the foreign institutions and the local institutions and individuals as well, sir?
As you know, that there is a competition all over the world and between the countries to attract the foreign direct investment. And in Egypt, for example, Egypt, as you said, adopted a new economic reform program, depending upon the Egyptian sources, depending upon the Egyptian infrastructures, and also the climate of the investment in Egypt. As you know, that Egypt also granted and after it approved the golden license for the new investors in Egypt.
Yes.
So, according to the report, the international report of doing business here in Egypt, as you know, that any new project may take at least 15 days or 30 days to get the license. This is an important point to attract the foreign direct investment in Egypt. And at the same time, as you know, that Egypt established many economic and trade zones in different parts, especially north of Egypt and the south, and also in many provinces. This is, of course, to attract the foreign investors to establish their factories or companies or any kind of industrial sectors in these areas.
Yes. Also, the Prime Minister talked about Egypt's role in and promises for its vision for 2030, and the point that we are transforming our economy to a great extent to a green economy, our transformation for the increase in the usage of the renewable energy and providing green bonds. What's your take on that and the Egyptian efforts to reach that, Mr. Abdellatif?
As you know, that Egypt declared many initiatives and also many plans during the coming period.
Yes.
We have a short, long term plan from 24 to 30, and this, of course, depends upon the economic reforms the government or the cabinet approved, and also Egypt has a long term plan. This is, of course, to increase the establishing of the green energy planets in Egypt. And after COP27, as you know, that we have the pledges for establishing many power plants here in Egypt to increase the use of the green power energy to 40%. This is, of course, an important point. At the same time, that you know that Egypt intends to export the surplus to the European countries. We are just now, Egypt are a hub for the new and renewable energy in the Middle East.
Indeed. Also, sir, the Prime Minister talked about the efforts exerted and the importance given by the Egyptian administration to provide a decent life and proper life for the citizens, and that is through providing initiatives like Haya Karima or the Decent Life Initiative, which was aimed high also and provided a great position on the platforms of the United Nations on its platforms. So how do you see that, sir, as well?
As you know, that the cabinet that was directed by President Abdellatif to support the Egyptian families and the Egyptian classes, not only in one province, but in all the Egyptian states. They increased their initiatives, the Haya Karima, and also Dignity Life, and also with coordinations Minister of Social Solidarity to support the people.
Of course.
For example, Fattah al-Sisi during the last years, for example, directed the cabinet to increase the social spending in the Egyptian budget.
Yes.
And they accustomed, by President Fattah al-Sisi and also the cabinet, Mustafa Madbouli, and so on, to increase the social benefits or social spending since for years. And they approved this even before the beginning of the new fiscal year. This is, of course, a huge support for the Egyptian families.
Yes.
When he decided to increase the pensions, to increase the state employees' salaries, and also directed the private sector to do the same systems for the people they are working there.
Indeed. Mr. Abdellatif Wahba, our journalist, thank you so much, sir, for your precious input and for being our guest for today. And indeed, our dear viewers, with that, we come to the end of this edition of Africa Today, where we have been dedicating this episode to our special coverage for the participation of Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Madbouli on the activities of the World Government Summit taking place in Dubai, the United Arab Emirates. And the Prime Minister a few minutes ago did deliver a keynote speech before the summit where he reviewed the government's efforts to lead a rise up in different economic and development sectors and boosting the efficiency of the Egyptian infrastructure. Our dear viewers, many thanks for watching.